With Paul Wight wanting to face Sting and John Cena's future following his Summerslam defeat, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for August 23rd. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Speaking on his podcast, Kurt Angle touched on the time he was legitimately knocked out by a Triple H pedigree at SummerSlam 2000. Pat Patterson was a big part of it. Rock, Triple H, and I all threw in our 2 cents worth. The story of the match was Triple H had to take me out at the beginning because he was so angry at me for kissing Stephanie. We had to do a table spot. I wasn't supposed to get knocked out for real. It was supposed to be a work. Unfortunately, the table gave way early. Triple H had my arms behind my back in his pedigree finish, and he didn't have the time to let my arms go so I could protect myself. The table gave way early and I got knocked out for real. This was a nightmare because the match was structured where I was supposed to get knocked out, pretend, then I was going to come back, join in with Stephanie and try to help Triple H. Not help Triple H, but get involved in the match. Stephanie wanted me involved in the match because The Rock was kicking Triple H's butt. That was the story of the match. I was supposed to get knocked out early. I was going to come back 10 minutes later, go wrestle in the match, and the finish was the finish, which was The Rock going over. The match told a great story. I don't remember any of it. It was put together very well, but I have no recollection of it. On the Battleground podcast, Matt Riddle talked about losing his first name in WWE, making it clear he had no intention to die on a hill fighting for it. I think the problem really came in that they didn't know they wanted to call me Matt Riddle or Matthew Riddle. Honestly, my whole life I've been called Riddle, because there's a lot of Matts. There's only a couple Riddles. So every sports team I was on, every wrestling team I was on, even when I did jiu-jitsu or fought in the UFC, people just called me Riddle. So for me, it worked. I knew a lot of fans were very upset about it, but I was like, people have been calling me that. It's my last name. It's not like it's a fake last name, it's still my real name. Honestly, people hated it at first, but it's catching on. Riddle's a pretty sweet name, I'll tell you this. There are certain battles you fight, right? You'll fight hard and you'll die on that hill. Losing my first name isn't one of those hills I'm ready to die on. Following SummerSlam, Riddle and Randy Orton are now Raw Tag Team Champions, as we'll have to see if they celebrate their win tonight on Raw. When it comes to the decision to have Becky Lynch return at SummerSlam and quickly defeat Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's title, PW Insider has reported, we are told it was 100% a Vince McMahon call and the title switch to Lynch was specifically to make her return even more spectacular. It should be noted that the quick nature of the match, 27 seconds, was seen by a number of fans as taking the wind out of the sails of Bianca Belair. But we are told that even though some of the company expressed that concern, the idea was that the moments was about Lynch per Vince McMahon's vision of the pay-per-view. It was also noted that Lynch will be a heel going forward in her feud with Bianca. The Hurt Business was considered one of the greatest factions in modern WWE until Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin were kicked out of the group. Speaking to BT Sport, Roman Reigns was asked about which WWE superstar should step up. He said Big E should do so, then used Bobby Lashley as an example, mentioning the Hurt Business was broken up too soon. I don't think we have quite as many groups or factions. Lashley's a great example. The Hurt Business, that was a group, you know what I mean? It may have, broke up a little too early. I don't know, I wasn't part of that process. Lashley is a bigger star now. Whether they handle the whole path to get there properly or maximize that, I don't know. That's not my business, because I didn't make it my business. But I just still think Lashley is that WWE champion. When that spotlight's on him, he looks like more money than he does when he's surrounded by other guys. In that same interview, Roman Reigns also touched on having Sami Zayn as a future opponent. One guy, I don't know how to get there without smacking him, but Sami Zayn is one of those guys that where you can't, he's like your neighbor. He doesn't scream superstar, WWE superstar, but there's something he has, like an intangible, that you can't stop looking. Even in real life, you want to converse with him. You want to have a little quick conversation. He'll pop you real quick and then say, all right, I got a good laugh, and now I'll go about my business. See you later, Sammy. He's one of those guys that's so talented that whatever it may be, it just needs a little more. If you can get Sami Zayn on TV more, that's a good thing. Talking to ESPN Sports Nation, Paul Wight talked about having a match in AEW against fellow WCW star Sting. Sting still got it. Sting, number one, is one of the nicest guys you will ever meet in pro wrestling. Just to know his athleticism, and for me, when I started my career in '95 for WCW, he was the franchise for World Championship Wrestling and had multiple championships then and was a huge fan favorite. And then how he's adapted his career and still at 62 and competes like he does just shows his commitment to taking care of himself and living the good life. I love to see Sting out there. He's a great person, a great influence for the talent in the locker room, and I look forward hopefully someday to working with him again. That would be ideal to get a chance to work with him again. Speaking on the Summerslam after party, Nikki Bella talked about Bianca Belair's shocking loss, revealing she was frustrated. I could tell you what wasn't my favorite moment, and it was when Bianca Belair lost. It definitely was not my favorite moment, and I don't know if I actually had a favorite moment, because I always back the women, and I'm always for the women. And you have someone like Bianca who is such an incredible talent, and you can't help but get frustrated when you see moments like that for a championship that meant so much and was lost within seconds. So I have to admit, for this SummerSlam, there truly wasn't anything that was my favorite. With him coming up short against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam and Brock Lesnar making his return, it was said by PW Insider, we are told that Cena is done with future WWE appearances due to filming commitments. Currently, Cena is only scheduled for the 9/10 Friday Night SmackDown taping at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Beyond that, WWE is going forward with the understanding that he won't be available for them for the foreseeable future due to filming commitments. There is no timetable for another potential return, WWE sources confirmed this evening. Cena would have this to say about his loss on Good Morning America. Unfortunately, WWE doesn't give a silver medal. I think I will try to do the best I can until I feel I'm offending the consumer. There's nothing like the energy of being in that ring with the audience around. I've had the fortunate opportunity to do a whole lot of stuff. That energy is indescribable. That place is my home. I wouldn't be who I am without it. The audience is my family. I want to be kind to them. I still feel good even though I finished second, so I still feel I have something to contribute. While it was previously reported that Cena will appear in the upcoming episode of SmackDown, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Luck must be on my side today. I took my $35 and I turned it into $100. I've earned myself a new meal. Probably a new shirt too.
And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.